Time magazine called our first guest one of the world's 100 most influential people. And during the course of his illustrious career, he's released 17 New York Times bestsellers, founded a thriving nonprofit, and currently hosts his own hit PBS talk show.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, and it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
Today, he's here to discuss his new book, My Journey with Maya, which chronicles his deep friendship with the late Dr. Maya Angelou. Tavis Smiley, welcome to Arise.
Good to see you both. How are you?
We're
Very
great.
good to see you.
Thanks for having me in.
Very happy to have you here.
you.
Let's talk about your relationship with Dr. Maya Angelou. It spanned almost 3 decades. The world loved her, but what made her so special to you, and how did you two meet?
She was a gift, and she was always willing to share the gift of who she was.
Yes.
Her heart, her spirit, her intellect, her cooking.
Yeah.
Anything that she had to share, she would. Never met a stranger. She said to me all the time, I am human. And because I'm human, nothing human is alien to me. She believed in respecting and reveling in the humanity of everybody, and she loved young people. And I don't even know why to this day. I experienced it. I've written a book about it. I've thought about this for 30 years. And I still don't know how or why I got to be one of those persons who got pulled into her inner sanctum. But I was a 20-something-year-old kid. She was going to Africa for a couple of weeks. She knew some friends of mine.
Yes.
And through my friends, I got invited on this trip.
So in meeting her, what was your impression of her?
I was completely blown away. I mean, the first 5 minutes, there's such a magnetism about her, such a love and such a reassuring and empowering vibe about her that you want to spend time with her. So I was literally going to Africa with her for 2 weeks to carry her bags.
Is that right?
That's what I went to carry her bags.
So you were her gopher?
I was her gopher for 2 weeks. But it was the experience of a lifetime.
Yes.
And because, I'm glad you used the word gopher, Lola, because others might have seen me as a gopher, but she didn't. I was just a kid, but she didn't stop that.
You were Mr. Smiley.
That's how she was.
Yes.
And she didn't stop that distinction, that difference in our ages or our experience or our intellect for that matter.
Yes.
She didn't stop that from allowing a friendship to blossom. And so she pulled me in. And for a young black man to be asked every day, what do you think about this? What's your opinion about this? How do you feel about this? You know, to have your intellect valued, your opinion valued, was a beautiful thing. And this is Maya Angelou asking me these questions. So she pulled me in, and I loved her for it.
How do you think that trip impacted your life?
Oh,
How did that shape you as a
in
person?
immeasurable and innumerable ways. I will tell you this. When I was in my 20s, at the age that I was in Africa with her, I really didn't know what my avocation was. I didn't know what my calling was. I knew I loved people.
Yes.
I knew that Dr. King had been my hero since I was a kid. I wanted to do something that would allow me to love and serve people. I thought that was public service. I'd run for city council in Los Angeles and lost the city council race. But since that's all I ever wanted to do, I didn't really have a plan B. I wanted to be a public servant. I wanted to love and serve people through elected office. That's what I thought my way was going to be to make the world safe for the legacy of Dr. King. But there's something strange that happens when you attempt to do the one thing that you think you were born to do, and then you fail at it. You don't know what to do. And there are a lot of 20-somethings watching us right now who are trying to find their voice, trying to figure out what their life is all about, what the next step is, what is my role in the world. That's the space I was in when this wonderful invitation came to go to Africa. So you go to Africa with Maya Angelou for 2 weeks, and if you come back and you still ain't got a clue, there's something wrong with you.
You know, Tavis, in your book, you write that you had, quote, never met a person so fully engaged, so ready to listen, so ready to share, so eager to embrace the moment with a full heart. She had a real zest for life, didn't she?
You would if you had been raped at the age of 7. This is what her classic text, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, is all about. When you're raped at the age of 7, and for 5.5 years, you don't say a single word. You don't utter a word for 5.5 years because you've been so traumatized by that situation. And then, on the other side of that, you not only find your voice, but you fight your way back. You find your place in the world, and then you end up becoming iconic. America's ultimate Renaissance woman. If that person can't give you some advice about finding your place in the world, nobody can.
Well, now she's on a U.S. postage stamp, so now you must talk about the controversy that is.
It seems to me to be some pretty basic research. Somebody failed.
I can't think of 100 Maya Angelou quotes that I couldn't just spit out. You know,
you think of all the things that she did say, and y'all found the one thing that she didn't say. I mean, it's another example. You know, I don't want to beat up on the government, but it's another example of government incompetence. They just made a mistake. Now, I'm willing to admit that we all make mistakes,
Yes.
and we don't always get it right. But this was somewhat embarrassing on the day that she's being honored. But I don't want that to overshadow what this means. What this means is, what this means, Patrick, is that on the same day in 1 week, Maya Angelou had a book that came out that was a tribute to her.
Absolutely.
My Journey with Maya. And on the same day, you're honored on a U.S. postage stamp.
That's true.
I think that means her legacy is going to be all right. I think that means that for years to come, we'll be celebrating and reveling in the gift that she was to so many. And I don't want us to lose sight of what that moment meant, to have all that celebration going on in one day.
Now, Tavis, you're never short on opinions. So let's talk about a few things that are in the headlines.
I'm here. Let's go.
Okay, Empire. It's a colossal hit.
Yeah.
More than
Everybody
20-something
loves
more
Empire.
than 20-something million people tuned in to watch the finale. Your thoughts on the show?
I don't believe in knock and hustle. I'm like Mary J. and Jay-Z. I don't believe in knock and hustle. It's a great show in the sense that people tune in. It's done remarkably well. I was asking about this earlier this week on Larry King and making comments, as happens, that seems to make news. And people really miss the point. It troubles me in the world that we live today where people write a headline, and I'm not stupid or naive. They write a headline to get your attention.
Yeah.
But I encourage you to go online right now, look at the headlines that were written about my comment on Larry King, and then read the quote. The quote and the headline don't match up.
That's true.
What I said was that there is a debate within the black community about whether or not some of the worst of our pathologies are being expressed through the show.
Right.
That's a legitimate answer.
Absolutely.
Anybody wants to debate me on that, meet me outside on Fifth Avenue. That's a fact. There is a debate in the black community about whether or not there's too much of the worst of us being showcased. And what I said was that I hope that in the coming season that we'll see more characters that are a bit more positive. But let's talk about it. There's crime, there's drugs, there have been some killings in this. And I understand it's entertainment, and I love art, and I love entertainment. Right. I was asked a question, and I just said there's a debate. And here's the real reason why this is a problem. It's a problem because what we still lack in Hollywood is balance. We don't have enough shows that show us in our fullness the complexity of our character. And so that's why a show like Empire becomes a hit, and then we start debating about it. We wouldn't be debating this if there were a litany of other shows like the white folk have that show the fullness of our humanity. Yeah. And that's why it becomes a controversy.
We can't let you leave without talking about South Carolina. Another black man dead at the bullet of a cop.
Another black man dead, shot by a cop who lied about it.
Yes.
Very simply, this is what happens when you do not respect and revel in the humanity of other people. When you think that black lives don't matter, then you see the lives of black men being contested every single day. This is not so much about black and white as it is about wrong and right. And if you never come into respecting the fullness of the humanity of the other, this is what happens. This is about a lack of appreciation for people's humanity and their dignity. That's what this is all about.
And this is what is. I mean, it doesn't matter how many of these happen. This is a mindset that exists.
Racism is the most intractable issue in this country, even in the era of Obama. So for those who thought that his election was going to usher us into an era of post-racialness, America is less racist in some ways, but it's still not post-racial. And again, this does not mean that all cops are bad people. But we keep ignoring the fact that there is a problem that does exist in law enforcement, and somebody better start taking it seriously.
Is Hillary Clinton going to the White House? We got to find out about Hillary. What do you think?
Is Hillary going to run? Should she run? And if she runs, will she win?
I think the signs are that she is going to run, number one. Should she run? Not my decision to make. Number three, I think it is a mistake for her to be coronated. She will be a much better candidate in a general election if she has to run the gauntlet. But when there's nobody else running but you, and you get coronated, all the media focus is on you because they ain't got nobody else to talk about. That makes it a much tougher route to have to run.
Tavis Smiley, old friend, we love you.
Love you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching Arise Entertainment 360. We'll be right back.